All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. All right, it is jam night again, and I'm going to do something a little different tonight, and because tomorrow I'm going to be turning over a new leaf. No, literally, there's a whole, see all those leaves down there? I got to turn them over and get the grass to come up. You know what I mean? Not lying, not lying. See, you crafty. I will find a way to eventually someday have this set up properly. Now, mostly talking video, so it doesn't really matter. But anyway, okay, so today I actually worked. Usually I'm usually good at weaseling my way out of working on the days I go well, I just can't really say jam. It is a jam night, but it's an open mic more than a jam night. And had a big storm today too. I did painting today, so hopefully I got all the paint off me. I'm welted full of freaking mosquito bites like you wouldn't believe. But you know, it's still jam night. It's still jam night. My girl, bye-bye. My dog, my poor dog. You can see the mosquitoes on her face. Yeah, mosquitoes are so bad, especially all this rain. But here's what I got going on tonight. Now, normally I am the loudest guy there. I'm Mr. Noisy. That is me. That is my job, and I do that. I do that sort of thing. But tonight, well, I'm going to be Mr. Quiet, Mr. You hear me, and then Mr. I'm yelling at the audience. Yeah, it will be, yeah. So here's how the night's going to start out. Now, today's been a very strange day for me. And today I woke up, okay, to go to work, and my dog starts barking, which is not that unusual. My dog barks. And not only is she barking, but I hear like heavy equipment coming up my road. I see a front end loader. Next thing I know, I see cars passing in front, being carried past my window. It's like, oh, I guess all those old abandoned or, well, they're worn out vehicles, rusted out vehicles, they came and collect them. And one of the vehicles was my old road rage van. Now, that was also my mom's last van. And we are 1 month away from my mom's 5th anniversary since she's passed away, and I'm just passing her grave right now, so to speak. So tonight I'm in a good mood, you know, whatever. But I'm also going to be singing a song. I'm going to be singing The Scientist tonight, so that's kind of a sad song. And I watched the video the other night. I haven't seen it well. I mean, the song came out, I think, 2002, something like that, give or take. And it's all, a little spoiler alert, what they did is they recorded the whole thing in reverse. So the guy had to learn how to sing the song backwards. I know some people say it's satanic. It's not. The song's about one of three things. The first thing it's probably about is the guy, spoiler alert, loses his girlfriend in an accident, right? The second is they both died in the accident and they find each other in the afterlife. That's possible number 2. The third possibility is the guy loses the girl in the accident, but he can't remember her. Isn't that just like... That's what I got out of the video. If you go watch the video. It's Coldplay's The Scientist. Great song. And I've been working on that song for a long time. There's only 2 verses. But it's one of those songs where there's a little bit of a play on words, and if you mess up one line, it throws the whole thing out of sequence, and you lose yourself. It's not a hard song to learn, though. It's a very easy song to learn. I was actually watching, I don't know what the guy's name is, the lead singer playing it, and he tunes his guitar, he takes his high E, and, sorry, I had some friends out there. I do drive by honking. I don't really have that many friends. I just like honking at people. So I pretend I'm their friend so I can honk at them. But the point is that he tunes the high E to an open F string. So he could just play basically like a C chord or an F chord major shape pretty much the whole way. And there's really only 3 or 4 chords in the song. There's your F major. There's 15 different ways to play an F major, you know what I mean? There's the B flat, major, and then you go to a D minor of some sort, and then back, and it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then at some point, there's a C in there. C suspended or C major. Major fifth? No. Major. I'm forgetting the name of that chord. I don't feel like going out to the science of what makes a fifth chord or a third chord. I know what it does, the seventh chord, whatever. It's a fifth chord, I believe. But anyway, that's all there's in the song. So guitar-wise, I do it in standard tunings because it's not like I got forever and a day to tune a guitar on stage with different tunings. Now, Gibson, I know there's a little controversy with Gibson right now suing, I think they're suing Dean Markley and a few other guitar manufacturers, Dean Guitars. I don't know what it's over yet. I'll have to go and check it out, but what the issue's about. But there's that going on. But there's another thing that the Gibsons came up with that Robo tune a few years back. And that would be handy on an acoustic guitar that did multiple tunings, but it'd have to be one hell of a machine, and you'd need one hell of a battery in there to be able to, you got some heavy corded strings there to retune, right? So it'd be nice just to punch in, okay, open, the custom tuning like that, so that you could have your guitar tuned to pitch without annoying the audience. So I'm watching the guy who normally plays the piano, the lead singer, whatever his name is, doing it on a Gibson J200 Jumbo, right? So big jumbo guitar. And he's trying to tune the guitar, and this is something that I've always told people, and this is very important, is that tune your guitars before you go out. If you're a whole band, tune them, go outside, tune the guitars with the tuner, tune to each other, do it before you go inside, because it seems like if there's any sort of background noise, you just can't tune for some reason. You can tell if the guitar's out of tune, but it seems like it's impossible to put it in a tune when there's an audience there. I don't know why that is. What is the science behind it? I don't know. It's the science of music, I guess. But there's another angle here, is that, you don't have all the time in the world, so you can still play it in the key of F major, but you'll have to do bar chords or whatever, or omit that ringing open string, which would be an open F string instead of an open E string. But if you were recording, you definitely want to do that open tuning, because the chime you get out of that is sweet. I was just listening, I said, oh, geez, that's the way to play it. But I'm going to do it a different way. And the nice thing with the D minor chord is you could really play around. There's a lot of great D minors on the neck. You know what I mean? Like D minor is just a nice sounding chord. It's an eerie chord. It's a romantic chord, I guess you would say. Like A minor. A minor is probably the most dramatic chord. Well, I don't know if it's the most dramatic chord, but it's one of the more dramatic chords. Very popular. Perfect in almost every ballad, right? D minor, A minor, E minor is a pretty dark song, and B minor. Yeah, throw all those minor chords in there, you'll have people crying. But this song is actually not that deep sound-wise. So what Coldplay did with this song was kind of interesting. Maybe it's because it was originally done on the piano, and because of that, you tend to get everything in fifths, right? Not all the time. I mean, you can play non-fifth chords on a piano, for sure. I'm not saying you can't. You can probably do more with the piano than you can with a guitar a lot of times. But the point I'm making is that people tend to arrange that way, just the way your fingers fall on the keyboard. So it sounds like, how do I put it? It sounds like they were going for with the song wasn't to get you crying. It sounded like they were trying to get you to, like the chord progression sounds like it wants you to make peace with this. And that, I think, is very, very well done. So that's the first song I'm going to be doing tonight. I've been wanting to play The Scientist. live. I'm going to do it on the mandolin eventually. I'll do it on the, I could play it on the ukulele. I learned it on the ukulele first, strangely enough. So that's what I want to do with that. So what's my second tune? Well, see, last week I was able to do 3 songs from the 80s. Now, because it was nice weather last week, gorgeous weather, it was like no humidity, it was beautiful out. Everybody was out on the patio, though, so I didn't have much of an audience inside. There was probably 30, 40, maybe 50 people at the bar, but they were all outside enjoying the mosquito-free, humidity-free, moderate temperature weather, right? So we're June 26th at the making of this video, so what happens is tonight, it rained last night, it just, or the night before, just poured, like just whatever. So that, you know, I mean, I understand mosquitoes have to eat too, right? Bastards. Like I got like mosquito phobia. Like I got Tourette's now where I'm just smashing myself in the side of the face, just thinking there might be a mosquito on me. It's just there's so many of them. And today I was painting in the humid weather, and the mosquitoes were so bad today. I was like, it was like 100 of them on each arm at the same time. It was impossible to concentrate on the painting, but yet not one run in the door or the planter boxes. I was like, as soon as I was done painting, I put the paintbrush down. I'm like, like I'm all welted up. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, it's horrible. And then there was a thunderstorm tonight. Now it's nice and clear, and there's no wind. So I'm thinking tonight might be a packed bar because, you know, like, we're gonna get eaten alive out there. Yeah, you know, I think that's what's gonna go on, right? So that means I should, in theory, have a good audience. Now that said, we're coming up. We're just passing a long weekend, which is Fête Nationale de Québec, which is basically used to be known as Saint Jean Baptiste Day. But because they want to be more multicultural and inclusive in Quebec, they call it the Fête Nationale de Québec, right? With, not to get into it, but again, this is not my political channel, but with what's going on in Quebec with inclusivity and stuff, that's kind of funny. The irony is a little bit lost here, but it's if you know what I'm talking about. If you're from Quebec, you know what I'm talking about, like, you know, the inclusivity part. New laws coming out or whatever. But even with that, there's watch out here. Everybody's out getting an ice cream cone and stuff. Nobody's sitting outside though. Oh man, those mosquitoes are way too many puddles of water sitting around. Although the sun's out now, it's nice. Especially this, you know, like, you know, we're just past the solstice, so the days are nice and long. So you have sunshine almost till 9 o'clock at night. I love it. But anyway, yeah, it's like you got. What was I going to say? Yeah, you got. You know, all this. You know, the situation where you got a long weekend that just passed, and now we're going. I mean, there's already Canada flags. I mean, there's normally a lot of Canadian flags everywhere you go, even here in Quebec. Most people do one of 3 things. They put up, or 4 things. They put up a Canadian flag. 2, they'll put up just a Quebec flag. Buddy, or they'll put up a Quebec and a Canadian flag. Or they'll put up a Quebec, an American, and a Canadian flag, the maple leaf. But we're heading towards July 1st, which means that's our, you know, our basically Day of Confederation or Independence Day, whatever you want to call it. Really, we could say we can't really call it an Independence Day because the Americans have an Independence Day because of their history. Our history, we you know, basically joined Confederation in 1867. Although we've always been a British monarch, but in 1967, the maple leaf flag you see now was adopted. We used to have a version of the Union Jack, and before that it was the St. George Dominion flag. It wasn't solely St. George flag, but it was similar. You know, and then before that it was the New France flag. So we've been through a few country changes, and no matter how much called New France and all. New France, a lot of people don't realize like half the United States used to be a part of New France. You know, right down to Louisiana. You know what I mean? That's why you know, you hear the term Cajun. That's the expat French Canadians that moved down there after they lost, you know, after the Battle of Abraham. They lost the war, and rather than being, you know, persecuted or hung for treason or soldiers, whatever, the French went down to Louisiana. But it was still part of New France at the time when that started, and there was also Rupert's Land, and then, you know, the Dominion of Canada, and then Canada. Now we know Canada is Canada, right? So but I'm right now between two major party weekends in the country. Now, Fête de National or Saint Jean Baptiste Day is a Quebec thing, and the rest of the country doesn't really celebrate it. But you know, Newfoundland has their day, Nova Scotia has their day, and then, you know, whatever. But pretty much the festivities are now officially here. We have passed the native solstice. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to a powwow, but you know, for June 21st, 22nd. But basically, that's the solstice, the longest day of the year, right? Right now, we're the 26th, so technically, the days are now 5 days into getting shorter, but we're still got the long days, so it's good. We've got a while before the stuff the white stuff that shall not be named is coming around. So hopefully, anyway. But what I'm getting at is hopefully tonight there will be a great big crowd, and the guy that's hosting tonight is David Taggart. Now, this kid, well, he's not a kid, he's a young man, whatever, but, you know, he still has a full head of hair, so he can't be that old. His sister, she plays keyboard. I haven't heard her play yet. And they go on, brother and sister, and I guess it must be a family affair thing. They go on tour every now and then. And my cousin was saying, yeah, because she worked with both of them, Riley and Dave. And they're both really nice people. They're really nice people, right? And he's going to be the sound guy tonight. Now, the thing about him is you could get a really, like, Everly Brothers type of night with him, or Nirvana. You know, like, it's you know, like, the kid can rock. The kid can rock. So I don't know which way the night's going to go. And getting back to what I said earlier, that I'm usually the loud guy. I'm the guy that's doing all the rock and roll songs and making all the disruptions and screaming and yelling in the mic and doing the hooting and hollering. Even my ballads are super heavy, you know what I mean, in comparison to most people. Most people are playing like Simon Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, old stuff like that, even older stuff, old folk songs. You know, nothing over 85 beats per minute, you know what I mean? Where I'm kind of thrashing away on the guitar, burning my pickup, and, you know, literally shredding my pickup on my guitar and wearing down the pick. You'll see pick dust. When I shred on my guitar, you will see pick dust on the guitar. Like, whatever colored pick I have, you'll see that tinge on my guitar. And because like, I go through picks like you wouldn't believe. But years ago, when I used to buy Steve's guitars, they used to give you 12 free picks a month if you bought a guitar from them, right? Or, you know, stuff over a couple of $100. So I ended up with a few hundred picks over the years, or maybe 1,000 picks. And most of them, it was just like I grab a bit of each, and I just wear them down. And these were like cheap picks. But the point is that I still have picks, not too many left over, but I still have picks left over from that. With the acoustic, I tend to like those 3-sided picks. You get a little more mileage out of them. The Dunlops are nice, but at $1 a piece, you know what I mean? Like, really? $1 a piece? The Dunlop Shark picks, I think I did a review of them before. They're good if you're not plugged in. I found out the hard way last week that they really sound scratchy mic'd on stage. It's okay. It's okay if you're singing through your mic and you got the pickup, whatever you're using. It seems to be okay. The idea with the Shark pick is like little teeth on it to give you like a doubling sound effect, so it makes it sound like you have a 12 string. And just crack the window here. Hope that's not too noisy. Just a little bit humid in here. But anyway, yeah, just last week when I played it, it sounded kind of scratchy, and I won't use those live again. It just, I guess the ambience of the stage mics picked it up, and it didn't sound, it sounded okay, but I was just like, even on the GoPro, you can hear the scratchiness. It just didn't sound as full as a regular pick. So they're good and they're not good. So strange things like that. But I always got a pocket full of picks anyway. I tend to lose a pick every now and then. But anyway, so my second song. What is my second song? Well, like I say, last week I did 3 happy-go-lucky songs from the 1980s. Everybody seemed to enjoy them. No real big hooting and hollering, but a little bit of a sing-along. That's kind of cool. But I figured with the Bruce Springsteen song, The Dancing in the Dark, I would have girls dancing up on the floor. But I guess everybody was just outside and chilling. So, maybe if they were inside, it would have went over a bit better. But not that I didn't play well. I mean, I got a lot of compliments from people. Like, oh, wow, you did the Aha song, the Take On Me song, very good. But will I add it to the roster? I don't know. What I look for is when people really have a reaction to a song. That's when I put a check mark. Where the hell did that building come from? What the hell? Like my nephew would say, what the heck? There's a big freaking building there. That wasn't there last week, I swear to God. Dad, or I'm blinder than I thought. Maybe I should keep my eyes on the road. There's always that too, right? But anyway, yeah, so if I play a song and I play it really, really well, and I'm expecting, sometimes I get an expectation that, I play it well enough that I'm like, people are going to love it, but they just don't get into it. You know what I mean? Sometimes that has to do with who goes up ahead of you. Last week, the guy that was ahead of me wasn't super lively, but he was just lively enough that it worked for my set. The problem you run into is when you get somebody that's playing 3 really soft ballads in a row. When they do that, it's really, like I say, it takes 3 to 6 songs to get people into a mood, right? And, if you want to bring the night up, you bring the night down. If you want people a little more mellow, you want them a little more riled up, that's what you do. So tonight I'm doing a little bit of a, like a roller coaster, where I'm going to start off with The Scientist to romanticize everything. Very ballady, but then I'm going to kick it up a notch one song after, which, because last week was all about happy-go-lucky and the stuff like that of the 1980s, this week is more about it's not really about the 90s, but the one song is from the 90s, and this song is, it went number 1 for almost a year on the charts. It was so good. The band made millions and millions of dollars off of this song. But one little theme in this song summed up the whole cynicalness of the 90s. And that was one little violin piece in the song got them, you might as well say, the ultimate copyright strike, and they got sued. And when they got sued, they lost all the revenue from the entire album, not just the song. They got wiped out. That song was Bittersweet Symphony. How fitting, right? Which I always thought was originally a Rolling Stones song, but I know the tune, the violin part came from the Rolling Stones, right? So the band was the Verve, which they had quite a few hits. They were very. The 90s was weird with the pop rock. Everything sounded kind of like Oasis, Coldplay, the Verve. It had a very spacey kind of Blind Melon. There was those kind of bands. Pearl Jam. They all had, they were almost all void of, guitar solos for the most part. They all had a kind of very breathable rhythmic section, if that makes sense. Look at that bird, I'll run you over. I'll flatten you. That bird, a crazy bird on the road. What's a bird doing on a road like that? Anyway, but yeah, whereas the 70s was all riffs, like Led Zeppelin type stuff, right? Everything was all riffs. 80s was all power chords and those big chunky power chords, right? Rock You Like a Hurricane stuff. But the 90s was just, okay, we're going to play just the major chords, and not a lot of fanciness to them. every Oasis song is really, everything sounded like it was written on an acoustic guitar originally, and then they added it to the electric after, if that makes sense. You know, like I said, the hard rock stuff like Nirvana and whatever, Metallica, AC/DC, all those, Megadeth, yeah, they did more progressive stuff. They did more straightforward. Every AC/DC is almost every song is played in the first position, right? First to the third fret kind of chords, right? A lot of A chord, a lot of E chord, whatever. Angus moved around a bit, but almost everything was going to be based off of the first position chords. But a total different genre of music. It was real smash and bash in your face, and Brian Johnson or Bon Scott got to yell a bit, and in between the yelling, you had these blistering guitar solos from Angus Young. Where in the 90s, you really didn't have that. You didn't have a hybrid blues crossover. You didn't have a progressive metal crossover, whatever. Now, mind you, you did have your Steve Vais and your Joe Satriani's and everything like that, sure. Like I say, in the metal scenes, like Ozzy and stuff like that, yeah, you had Randy Rhoads, and you had Zakk Wylde then. Sure, yeah, you had the progressive stuff in there, but the pop culture, what was on the radio, it was, if I want to really put it up here in Canada anyway, you got Enter Sandman was kind of like the first really heavy metal song that really got popular on the radio. Everything else was considered underground. Motley Crue, you got some of it on the radio, but they weren't really radio playable songs at the time. It was considered too heavy, so you couldn't get away with that. But by the end of the 90s, yeah, you had Slipknot playing on there, on the radio. So, and Linkin Park and all that. But even I like Linkin Park. I was never a big fan, but again, very spacey, very airy songs, where not that busy, just kind of straightforward, cut to the chase kind of songs. This Verve song really does that, I find. It really just has that kind of cut to the chase song, right? Whereas in the 80s, like all the songs, especially the pop songs, were so colorful and busy. The bass was funking out, the guitars were doing all kinds of picking and popping, and you had all kinds of effects on there that were giving it extra dynamic, whatever, and it to really jazz up the sound. Where in the 90s, again, no, everything was much more straightforward. Like all the Oasis songs, pretty much straightforward, stuff like that. The Coldplay songs, what was unique about them is they were probably predominantly written on acoustic guitars and the piano, probably more the piano, I would imagine. So very, very cool stuff no matter what, but different. And I like doing that genre, It's nice to see how music progresses from decade to decade. Now, that said, my last song of the night is going to be a lot of fun, or it's going to scare the crap out of everybody. Why? Because this is my rowdy song of the night. This song is a band that I just absolutely love right now. Is the band from Finland called Teresa's. And they're basically a Viking battle metal band. And what they do, they still dress up in the makeup and so on, but they dress up like Vikings. They don't wear the furs anymore. I guess, they just wear leather jackets and just put the face makeup on. But they used to do their whole bodies. And I'm going to be doing the song 10 More Miles. Fantastic song. The video, a little bit graphic. It's about a Viking raid, but it's about many things. And a lot of people interpret the song different ways. They can't really understand why they show a guy in a corporate boardroom and then this Viking raid. They don't get the crossover. But the song is basically about how people profit on the misfortune of others by stealing treasures and stuff like that. So it's these guys in a boardroom basically auctioning off medieval stuff, making a whole bunch of money on it. And there's this one sword, which if you want to go for legendary purposes, although it wouldn't go to Finland and go to Sweden, is the Ulfbert sword comes to mind, where many Viking clans went to war over these Ulfbert swords because they were believed to possess magical powers. Whoever made these swords, nobody even knows what the name Ulfbert means. But They think it's the maker of the sword, but however these swords were made, they're still to this day. Nobody in that time frame built the sword to that quality standards. In fact, comparing it to a proper built sword today, like the steel was like almost as pure. So whatever recipe they used, whatever forging technique they used, it basically, this was, basically a true spring steel sword where it wouldn't break in battle. It would bend and then spring back. That's why they thought whoever made this was, it possessed magical powers. That's why people went to war for these swords. And it wasn't just those swords, it was other swords. So Viking raids, sometimes that's what it was over. You know what I mean? And the 10 More Mile song is not specifically about that sword, but it comes to mind. So there was about 250 of those swords made that they've tracked in history. But what they don't know is, again, who was the original maker, all that stuff. They don't know that. But that said, the video, again, you see this guy kind of in a blank stare in the boardroom. It's the lead singer without the makeup on, and he's singing. And it kind of tells you the story where the sword came from. That, here were these guys, making money on the misfortune of others, that died, that were slaughtered by a bunch of tyrants to steal this sword. And then they were making money off of that and, just getting off on it. And the other metaphor is how, our world elites kind of take advantage of us today, basically, not so much just enslaving the poor, but doing stuff against our interests and stuff like that. So I don't want to get too political because this is not my political channel. But that song kind of does that. And then at the end, the guy just, gets we'll say a conflict of conscience. And that's what the song's about, changing your course to no longer do the wrong things, to do the right things. But the song itself is brilliant. And it's very patriotic sounding. It's very Viking oriented. And I'm going to try to get this crowd to sing along. Just the one word, Teresa's. That's all I got to yell. And if I get them screaming, yelling, they're usually pretty good at it. But it's better, the more people you have in there, the more hooligan it gets. And my hope is to get it pretty hooligan. Now, a song I want to be doing and I can't believe the lack of views on the song, but if you want to see the world's most dangerous drinking song, it's basically Teresa's In the Courtyard of Yisleaf. What a great tune. That song, I love that friggin' song. It's just mental. It's got the accordion guy, yes, a metal song with accordion and fiddle. There's no guitar solos in there hardly at all. It's all a fiddle player doing the solos. And it's very interesting. It's folk metal, right? And what's cool is that if I get the right crowd, I could probably pull that song. If it's a really quiet night, I might not be able to do it. But it's like whenever I do get a full gig, hopefully fairly soon, because I'm halfway through the peak season of live music playing, booking gigs. Things are going to taper off around the end of August, right? Once the patio weather goes, you're back, you get less places to play. But that said, I did see the owner, but she was too busy to talk to the last time I seen her. Hopefully she's there again tonight, and hopefully, make another impression and get that conversation open. Problem is this place, you've got a lot of locals that play there on a regular basis, and it's one of those things, they book it up for 6 months in advance, right? So it's very hard to get gigs going. And I'm still waiting back from it. You really got to knock on a lot of doors. It's just like anything. There is no free lunch in life, and you just got to do a lot of work trying to get the gigs. Once you get in there, then they'll always get you back if you do a good job. Then it's no problem. Then they say, okay, well, book me again in 6 months or a month or whatever it is. And I would like to at least minimum have one paying gig a month, preferably two. But the peak season is going to be June, July, August, right? October, you're going to get indoor stuff, but you're not going to get as much. People, they start to hunker down. They don't spend as much money. Start to go. Students start to go back to school. You got all that going on. So you do run into an issue where it's just there is a peak season for playing live. Now, that said, my cousin's band, which I don't know if he's still in that band, I haven't asked him, but the guitar player and the singer, they're basically boyfriend and girlfriend, right? And they played at the Pub McVeigh, which is just really less than 20K from my place, which is half the distance that I'm going tonight, or a third the distance I'm going tonight. So it's a lot closer. I know they don't have a PA in there, but it's a small place, and maybe my PA might be able to do it. And if that's the case, I'm going to see if I can book a gig there, even if it's a play for the hat type gig, whatever. Problem is the crowd there are very, very boomer. So, what songs do you play, right? This usually becomes the issue when you're in the countryside. Like some places, unless you play anything but country, they won't get you to play. They don't want you to play. They won't risk anything. It's usually older bar owners. They just have a mentality that, no, you're not playing Johnny Cash or Hank Williams or Willie Nelson, we don't want you. You know what I mean? Like they don't embrace the new. New as like Led Zeppelin would be too heavy for them. You know what I mean? You might be able to pull off one or two songs, but they want to hear old time country western, right? And that's fine. I don't pick on that at all. Like, I mean, it's their establishment, but that's also why they don't draw crowds. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, people like that if they're going, like, say, to a bluegrass festival or something like that, where that's the genre for drawing out the fanatics for that. And there is a few bluegrass festivals and stuff like that, but I don't know enough bluegrass tunes to pull it off, right? So I lose out on stuff like that, even though it can be closer to me. So the thing is that knowing the place you're playing, this place, I think, this place is owned by the owners are Gen Xers. Well, I don't know about the husband, but I know the wife is she's a Gen Xer. She's around my age. So, and every time there's like the halftime of the band, it's like it's all 90s rock, metal, Soundgarden, stuff like that. There's a little bit of older stuff in there, some hippie music, sure. But you can tell that it's very, you can get away with newer stuff. You'll never hear speed metal in there, but you'll hear, like I say, like Spoon Man or, something like that. You might even hear the Metallica song in there. But you mostly hear, like, more, lighter stuff. But the thing is that, you're close enough to the genre that you can push the envelope a bit, or you can dial it down a bit. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about places like that. But that's the problem. It accommodates so many people that it's hard to get a gig there simply due to the fact that it's always so booked up. But like anything, you stay the course. You just keep trying, and I don't like to hound people. If I ask them, I might ask them once, I might ask them twice. If it comes up in conversation a third time, fine. If not, after that, just move on. Like, don't take it personal. Because some places they'll say, oh yeah, oh, we like what you do. Yeah, we'd love to have you play. And they might not necessarily mean that. They might just be saying that just to be nice. And if that's the case, well, you'll never get booked there. You'll be sitting there waiting. And, that's why I don't push the envelope on it, because it's like, well, maybe it's like, yeah, they were going to book me, but maybe a few people, that guy's just too loud, don't book him, I won't come, you know what I mean? And, the locals have a big say of who plays in a genre, you know what I mean? That's their clientele, right? So you are a business transaction. You're not the clientele. Well, tonight I'm the clientele because I'll be whatever, but that's the point, is that you're a business transaction. You are there to make that bar money. And if you can't draw revenue, which usually is not a problem for me, because I do quite a bit of drinking songs or drinking party-oriented songs when I get going. But it takes about 8 songs or about the first set list to get people into party mode. The problem, again, you have with the open mics and the jam nights is that everything is always either 3-bar blues, a ballad, because a lot of people that are playing the ballads are metalheads themselves. But they fear to play something too heavy because they think they're going to insult somebody or whatever. It's a weird thing, but it is what it is, I'm a pretty good judge of what I can get away with. Sometimes, like, I know it might be a little bit heavy for some people, but for the open mic jam, like, that's, you can't go by that, because some songs, they're heavier and people just freak out and they love it. They're singing along and they're dancing along. Other songs, it's like, you got to put them to sleep, you know? Like, you can't play a 3-hour set of ballads, you know what I mean? Sets of ballads, and you know, unless that's what you're known for. Like, who would come to mind? You know, like easy listening music. You know, like, if you're in a genre like that, that's fine. But that's also what's giving me other ideas, especially with my mandolin, where a mandolin, if you do it right, you could just be playing Tchaikovsky and Bach and Mozart and stuff like that, Paganini, in a restaurant somewhere and still be getting paid. So not everything has to be, you know, lyrics and songs and stuff like that. Now, something that I want to do, depending on how much work I get, but I'm going to be doing another road trip to the city pretty soon. Again, cash is so tight for me these days. But the road trip I want to do is to Long and McQuaid. I've been dying to go for a long time, but I don't have any money to buy anything. So there's no point going there just to look at things. I have to have money to buy stuff. If I get a couple more days of work, I might be just far enough ahead. I've already priced it out, and I've already covered the topic. Whether this will come up before the topic does, probably will, is renting some instruments. So what instruments am I going to rent, you say? Well, although I've never played one before in my life, I don't think, I don't want to say I did, I don't want to say I didn't, because when I go into a music store, I'll grab a lot of instruments off the wall. You know, just even stuff I've never played before, just to see if I can get a sound out of it. Right? Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. The only thing I don't grab is like wind instruments. I'll never grab a wind instrument because that would be gross, you know what I mean? You know, grab a flute, a clarinet, or a saxophone. Most of the times they won't even have the mouthpieces on them, because there are people that are like that, that'll walk in, they'll start, you know, blowing in the you know, like a you know, $12,000 saxophone, they'll take it off the wall and start playing it and leave all their slobber in there, you know what I mean? No, people have got to buy that. But like, if there's a violin on the wall, a stand-up bass, I'll play around with it. Now, I do want to rent a stand-up bass. I want to rent it to see if I eventually someday it might be on the list of things to buy. Doesn't mean I'll ever afford one, but it might be on the list someday, right? But before that, because I don't know if I could fit a stand-up bass, double bass, in this vehicle. I really don't know. I will have to measure it. And it's about $80 a month for the cheap one, 3/4. $70 for the 3/4 scale and $80 for the other one, right? The full size, the 4/4 scale. Now, if I'm going to get a stand-up bass, I'm going to get a 4/4. You know what I mean? Like, go big or go home. Go refrigerator-sized, or you're a silly girly whirly man. Whatever it takes, right? But I want to rent a cello. Now, the cellos, the student cellos, you can rent them for $40 a month. Now, I'm probably sure there's going to be tax or whatever. So I'd rent one for maybe 2 months. So you're looking at $80 plus probably tax and maybe a little bit of an insurance. So a little over $100. But those student instruments start off at something like $1,300, $1,400, $1,100. So I can't afford to buy one anyway. And I don't know if I'm really going to like it. So, you know, a 2-month investment, or even a month-long investment. I'd rather do 2 months and have it for the summer, rest of the summer, and do that rather than just, there's a CRV just like mine. Yeah, that's cool. Just exactly like mine. Same year too. Nice. I should have honked at it. How rude of me. But the point is that if I can get, say, a half an hour, 45-minute concert with a cello, to an hour max, I can start not so much booking gigs, but playing concerts, saying, I will play in your establishment for an hour for this price, whatever. And there's guys that do that. You'll see them in like a fancy restaurant sitting there in a tuxedo. So obviously I'll either have to rent or buy a very cheap tuxedo, and they'll do stuff like that. The other thing is the old street musician thing, right? But I can't do street musician around here. I'm in the middle of the bush. Otherwise, I'd be busking already. Mind you, but if I was in the city where I could busk, I already have probably about 10 gigs booked. What I'm going to have to do is spend a day in the city, just going from tavern to bar to tavern, and some places you can call them, but you can't seem to book anything. They never get back to you because the people are busy. Sometimes it's just best to go in face to face, right? But you can use the phone to figure out where you're going to go, and that's what I want to do. So when I'm going to do that, I don't know. But when I do that, maybe early next month, I might see if I can rent the cello if I make enough money, and practice on it. And, if I can make a go of it, great. If I can't, well, it's not like it's a loss. It's not like I'm not going to use the thing, and it's not like I'm stuck paying for it forever. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe even if I just rent it for 1 month, whatever. But it's just I'm like, for the extra cost, I'm like, okay, it's a day's pay for me. It is a day's pay for me. But I'm like, okay, well, that's only if I have the extra money. Because at some point I'm going to have to go get some new mandolin strings. I don't have any spare mandolin strings. And I want to test out some guitars that I'm there. Maybe bring my GoPro with me, test some things out like that. So whatever it is, it'll be a trip anyway. And while I'm down, there's a few other things that I want to do, i.e., go to the music store, but I also want to do a couple of other things too. And yeah, that's going to be the goal. And if I do that, the nice thing about instrumentals, well, the obvious is that you don't have to remember any lyrics. The big thing I've got to start doing, I can do, but is basically I got to change the ink in my printer and start printing out sheet music. Why do I got to print out sheet music? Well, for the violin and for possibly the cello. So that if I do a concert, I have the music there, so that, okay, I learned the song, I learned it well enough, but I'll always have the reference there, because some classical pieces can be kind of long, and you forget parts or you forget the sequence of the parts. And, red light sucks. Green light. Woo! I love it when I hit the green light. So I'm almost there now. And, so it's like, cello might be on the list. I think that'll be fun. And, if I can make a little money with it, great. If I don't, oh well. That said, doesn't mean I'm ditching what I'm doing now and just going to move over to the cello, a new instrument. Right now I'm working on a mandolin set and a, I probably know over 1,000 songs on the guitar. I'm just trying to get a really good set so that if I do play this place or another place, it's going to be, like, every song is going to be a sing-along, a clap-along, whatever, starting from the first set. You know what I mean? That's what I want. Because what happens with a lot of bands is they'll get a bunch of mediocre songs and play like 3 really fantastic songs or 5 really fantastic songs throughout the night, but then they're like, well, these are our good songs, and we'll keep those near the end. And then they do, okay songs, whatever. But I don't want to do that. I mean, I've done that. It's like, okay, here's the easy songs that you can get away with, like, Take It Easy, stuff that people know, or Brown Eyed Girl. Again, great songs, overplayed to the power of 100 billion. But, they're good songs. People will laugh, people will cry, people will dance, people will sing. But, are you going to do anything that the last guy didn't do? You know what I mean? I like it when you give people something new. The problem is when you give people something new and they've never heard it before, it's that they sit there quiet because they don't know the songs. And some people, when they're playing, they think that people are not enjoying themselves. But a lot of times they are enjoying themselves, but you won't know until afterwards. Oh, what was that third song you said? It blah, blah, blah. They'll start humming it back to you. So that one was really good. It was whatever. And you'll start doing that, But meanwhile, if you were to see that person in the audience, be like, well, this person didn't enjoy the song. Wow, it's foggy here and the road is soaking wet. It must have just finished raining. Oh man, the mosquitoes. I just pray I'm not going to get eaten alive while I'm on stage. You know, because when the show's going on, you got to take the pain. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to cough, you got to hold it back. If you got to, burp, you got to hold it back. If you got to do other things, you got to definitely hold it back. You gross out the audience. If you got to, slap a mosquito, well, just pray you're playing a short enough song that he doesn't get too much blood from you, little bugger. Yeah, so we'll see about how it goes this week. Well, I don't see anybody out on the patio, so I think with the rain, one problem too is if you get too much rain, nobody comes out. So either way, my God, what's the guy who's doing with the maker on the front of the hood like that? Turn it off, man. Oh, I see an acoustic amp. Oh, there are people out on the. Okay. Well, the good news, I got a parking spot. Oh, I got a better parking spot. Now, where's this person going? Oh, where do we go? Is that? There's nobody behind me. Yeah, back by the dumpster again. That always happens for some reason. That guy he can't get out. Damn. Can't steal that spot. Oh. And they stole where I was before. Well, good news, full parking lot means lots of people. Where do you park now? Where does one park in these days? These days of... Gotta be careful too. There's that stump that pulled off my finger last night. It was like, what is this guy doing? He doesn't know where he's going. I don't know if I can... Well, I'll try it. Oh yeah, let's park right in the puddle too. Yeah. Can people get in? Don't go in the ditch. All right, so anyway, I'm here. I don't know if that's... I can probably squeeze 2 more people in. They got to widen the parking lot again. Oh, well. Anyway, there we go. I'm here, so I'll let you know how it goes.